learn about y'all's team to be able to play without Jacoby there for a good bit of the second half and still get a win?
I thought the guys did a good job of, just stepping up, like kind of next man up. I think Bishop has continued to grow his game in a lot of different spaces, and we feel comfortable with him as the point guard at times, and even when Jacoby's in the game, sometimes you'll see he is the primary ball handler to give Kobe a break. But, just in general, to see our guys weather adversity throughout that whole game was promising. We've had moments in the past where a little adversity hit and we didn't respond how we should have. So it shows growth, it shows development, and really excited about that. Just got to continue to keep getting better and stay out of foul trouble,
How much does that help the team as a whole with Bishop being able to run the point? And is that an asset to have Jacoby off the ball from time to time for his skill set?
Yeah, it is. And I think the more that Bishop continues to get more comfortable with it, it can add a whole new dimension to our team because, as deadly as Jacoby is with the ball in his hands, I think he could be just as deadly off the ball as well, with his ability to catch and shoot and play out of spot-up situations. So it just add a different dynamic to our offense, I think, if we can do that.
How has Bishop surprised you the most compared to the player he was when you recruited him out of Charlotte?
You know what? I've always known, his competitive nature, and that was the thing I thought that stuck out when I recruited him. He was a competitor, hated to lose, was a team guy, didn't really bother him what his role was, because it changed a lot with his AAU team. It changed some with his high school team. But he always was just focused on winning. And so I knew that's what we were getting, a winner. And his basketball feel, his basketball IQ is something that, you can kind of gauge it when you're recruiting, but you get a much better feel when you're with him every day. And so that's something that's, especially like defensive instincts, that's something that has, he's on a whole nother level. Always knew he, had a good feel, had a good IQ, but it's on a whole nother level.
Is there any feel for Felix in long term or short term, how much of an issue this will be?
I don't know. We'd have to ask Chad on that. I hadn't talked to him this morning.
The adversity aspect you mentioned overcoming against Auburn, but some of that against Georgia and Alabama too. What do you think's led to this team being better at overcoming difficult situations as of late?
I just think just going through the experiences. This is a new group, that we've got together here, and in the past, those groups have been together for a while, and they knew what to do when adversity hit. They knew where to look and what to look for. This group just hadn't been through those experiences together, so and it's hard to simulate, impossible to simulate that in practice. And we do the best that we can. Coach does the best that he can at creating some type of adverse situations in practice, but in the game, it's hard to simulate exactly what it feels like in the game. So that's one of those things you got to go through it, and you got to learn from it and grow from it and see it on film and see what it feels like for it not to work out, and before you experience that growth in it.
For Jalen Carey and Dwayne Brown getting a lot of praise last game for how they did what they did, do you think that's going to give them confidence to keep this thing rolling down there?
I think so. I think both of those guys are confident guys. I think the entire team, the entire program knows what they can do and what they're capable of. And so, I think they're already confident in that. We just, I think we learned that, that next man up mentality is real, and those guys stepped up in a major way because Felix is so important to everything we do offensively and a big part of defensively. And so for those guys to be able to hold it down during that game without fee speaks volume to them and them being ready, and Jalen was a little banged up too with the knee from Alabama, and so he's still working back, but he was able to fight through and give us everything he had, and obviously Dwayne is just consistent, man. He just what you're gonna get from him. He brings it every day, and so it does nothing but help our team when those two guys can bring that consistency to that level.
How do you find the line with this group between playing hard but also staying out of foul trouble?
It's a thin line, right? It's a thin line, but yeah, I'd say a couple of the fouls that we had, specifically fouling the 3-point shooters, kind of uncharacteristic. We hadn't really had a problem with that. I think it was unique in the sense of how number 7 kind of would kick his feet out on the shot a little bit, like if he had a kind of an awkward shot. And the same with 0. They had some shots that kind of baited you into fouling. And so, those are really the ones that that drive you crazy, right? Because the other ones, we're playing hard. We're you may just foul, but those are the 4-point plays and the and ones are the ones where it's like we got to be able to clean up.
I'm sure you guys, just from the roster build, knew y'all were going to be a good offensive rebounding team. Did y'all anticipate the numbers being this dramatic this late in the season?
That was our goal when we went into the portal. We wanted to we wanted to be better rebounding on both sides, and just adding size and physicality. And so that was our intent. We're excited that it is playing out in that favor. We know how important that part of the game is, to what we do. So, we kind of, we went into the market, went into the portal with that game plan. Now it's good to see that, the guys we identified as being those kind of guys, that they're doing it. So we just got to keep going.
What has Nate done differently since over the course of the season to add the physicality that we've seen from him the last couple of weeks?
I just, Nate's one of those everyday guys as well, and I think just the experience, the everyday repetitions, the game reps, all of that stuff, he's just continuing to get confidence just with every bounce, with every practice, with every game. I don't know, like, if he's doing anything dramatically different. I know he's spending more time with Garrett in the weight room, on off days, after games, all of that stuff. And so, I think, weight training, weightlifting, physically it does get you stronger, but it also adds, from a mental standpoint, you have a lot more confidence in yourself from that standpoint. So I don't know if there's anything drastically different he's doing, but he's an everyday guy, and I think the more he gets comfortable, the more he just figures it out. He gets more comfortable with it.
What stands out about Ole Miss?
Man, you know what? They're playing a lot of guys, and a lot of guys have been productive for them. And they have Storr, who is a high-level scorer. They got shooting. They can kind of attack you in a lot of different ways, and so. Us just be prepared to, one, do what we do, but also be ready to make adjustments as we need to, because they've had success in different ways, and they've been in some games where it didn't come out in their favor, but man, they were right there to win it. So it's a good team. It's a well-coached team. Coach Beard's a great coach, and we expect for him to come out and be a really good one.